Welcome to episode 44 of the Grit Code Podcast, live from London, England, a place where we decode the steps to success on and off the field. I'm 11-year NFL veteran, three-time Pro Bowler Donte Whitner, alongside Bay Area TV and radio analyst Mr. Rod Brooks. And the title of this week's episode is Family, Money, and Boundaries. But before we get into any of the things that the players go through, Rod, did you see the reports that Brandon Aiyuk might have to relinquish another $13 to $18 million to the San Francisco 49ers, all because he wouldn't shut his damn mouth? How do you feel about
Um, well, I mean, whether there's tens of millions of dollars at stake or not, one lesson we should all take heed is sometimes closing your damn mouth is the best thing you can do. This Ayuk situation, on one hand, I tire of it. On the other hand, I feel bad for Cat because it looks as though he has absolutely no one around him, and it seems like it's by design to tell him, hey, man, you need to relax on this. You need to not say anything. You need to not make the videos dancing and all that kind of nonsense. I feel bad for the dude because he's doing it to himself, and you hate to see it. You hate to see it.
Social media shapes perceptions, but contracts determine legal rights and responsibilities. When Ayuk said he didn't care about how much money he lost to be able to get away from the 49ers, he thought that he was in the clear. He thought that they couldn't get anything else from him. And guess what? Boy, was he wrong. And literally, his mouth wrote a check that his ass cannot cash. And I'm telling you right now, he doesn't have that $13 to $18 million. With the way that he's been spending and the way that he's been splurging, he's curled up in the ball right now. He's in that fearful zone now. And I think the 49ers should do everything they can to recoup every dollar that they can get back from him. And if he doesn't have the money, guess where it comes from? His future contracts. So Brandon Aiyuk, age 33 right now, will probably be playing on a veteran minimum deal. He's disappeared from social media, Rod. I guarantee you he won't be posting anything else. So Brandon Aiyuk, if you're listening, make sure that if you get another opportunity, you shut your damn mouth. That's how far it goes.
Hey, brother, I got to tell you, before we hooked up here to record this episode of the Grit Code Podcast, he put out another video. He put out another video of him dancing and looking as though he doesn't have a care in the world. And I'm talking, I just saw this less than 10 minutes ago. So he's still at it, brother. He's still doing it.
Well, Brandon, there's nothing to dance about. Unless you really just don't give a damn about money, then you could go ahead and dance. But I'm telling you right now, when you try to embarrass and insult the coaches in the front office, they're going to come after you. And when you get that lawsuit, you're going to either hand it over or they're going to take it from you. So he got a big issue on his hand, Rod.
What if, though, and I don't think this is the case, but I'll just throw this pure hypothetical out there. What if he's, for lack of a better way of putting it, smarter than we are at this point? What if he gets away with this? What if this seemingly disastrous master plan he has actually works? What if he doesn't care about the money? What if he doesn't care about future earnings going to the Niners? What if he doesn't care about lawsuits and contracts and what happens when you break those contracts? What if this is like what if this works for him?
Well, some people are okay with going back to the hood. Some people are okay with living in the poorhouse. I'm not. So maybe that's his master plan. If that's his master plan, I guarantee you that motherfucker work. That master plan is going to work.
If burning it all down is your master plan, then currently,
then go ahead. Then
like the back. Hey man, it's like old boy Pooh Shiesty. It seems like he just loves being behind bars, and now he's back behind bars. maybe that was his master plan all
Yeah, it had to
along.
be his master plan because he recorded the entire robbery with his face in
The
the
whole
video.
thing.
And all Pooh Shiesty is doing is living up to his name.
Right.
Pooh Shiesty. You understand? So he's one of the only rappers that actually do what he says he does. So I want you to know that. Moving on to last week, we got into the Joe Hayden and the numbers and how to invest and how much money you would have after 10 years if you didn't touch the money. And I received a lot of questions on the internet from fans wanting to know why this happens to so many different players when they have the rookie symposium, when they have financial literacy. Why do you think this happens, Rod?
Because, again, when you're young and you've achieved what you have been working towards since you were 8 years old, you think you're invincible and you think you are going to play football not forever, but for a long time, and you're going to make more and more and more money. You're going to get that second contract, you're going to get that third contract, and then when you are done playing football, there's going to be a nice, comfortable place for you to land as far as still staying in the game and making money. And as we've talked about privately, publicly, as you have detailed, once you are done playing football, it gets dark real quick, and getting out of that darkness is hard. These guys don't realize that. Also, cats are hard-headed. They don't think any of this applies to them. They think they're smarter than everyone else. So this guy went broke. It ain't going to happen to me. So all of that that help with the rookie symposium and people trying to get at them to educate them about high finance, they just think, well, they don't need it. It's not for me. So youth and ignorance has done a number on a lot of guys in and out of football. And this case is no different.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it goes deeper than that. When you do get drafted and you come into the NFL, you go to something called the Rookie Symposium for about a week. And when they give you the financial literacy tips at the Rookie Symposium, it's not what the owners use for their financial system.
Right.
The owners really only care about passive income, meeting and reaching and exceeding their fixed costs, and paying for their liabilities with passive income. So when you go to the CBA, this is what they tell you. Fix your credit. They talk credit score. They tell you, get a bank account, get a savings account. Make sure every year you check the box for your 401k because they match you 3-1. So when you're retired, you're financially set. What does that sound like? Does that sound like enough information for the players in 1 week to absorb and go on to understand and learn what passive income is? It's not, Rod. I'm going to tell you exactly why it happens. It's an invisible system. And this system is called systematic racism. And it's called a system that keeps the players in financial distress. Because when you look at that list of NFL-approved financial advisors, majority of them underperform the S&P 500, which is free. Majority of them. They're retail advisors. They can't give you the high-level information that you need to go on and be successful. And then when you think about the owner's business model, right now, the NFL owners, 32 of them, control 52% of the revenue that comes in. And the revenue that comes in right now is about $23 billion a year. If they taught the 1,700 players who are receiving $11 billion out of that how to invest the money, how to live off of passive income, what does that do to their business model?
It disrupts it.
It disrupts their business model. Now the NFLPA can sit at the table with the NFL owners and say, our players aren't going to play for 2 years until we get at least 55 to 60% of the revenue that's coming into the league. Do you think those 32 owners want that?
No.
So that's the reason why a lot of guys are in financial distress. They didn't grow up with their dad handing them the Wall Street Journal at the dinner table. They didn't grow up talking high-level finance. They grew up in the hood, and all they thought about was football, basketball. So these owners, they have to make it seem as if they're giving you the information to help you be successful, but underlining they're not. I think we have to get to a place where it has to be a thing where majority of the 1,700 players have to be so financially set and not in distress and need those checks to where they can sit out majority of a season, 2 seasons at max, so that they can get 60%. If the players get 60% of the revenue, that now flips it upside down. Now you have 1,700 players that are dividing 13.8 billion, and the 32 owners have to split 9.2 billion. That's 431 million for the players and 288 million for the owners. That's why the players are consistently in financial distress. We have to have empathy when we're speaking about these guys because they don't have the information.
And think about it this way. The NFL owners wield all of this power, but the most power they wield is to be able, when it comes to collectively bargaining what happens in the game, just to use that term, the NFL owners know that the players, they cannot, and as a group, will not collectively say, we're just not going to play for a stretch of time because they'll lose money. They won't get game checks. If you don't play, you're not going to get a game check. The owners know if that's flipped, if the players have a war chest, to use that term, to where they can miss a handful of games or maybe miss an entire season and able to get some strength when it comes to the collective bargaining agreement, the owners know if that flips, they're in deep, deep trouble. The owners know full well the players financially don't have the stomach to not play games in order to get the things that they want, whether it is healthcare related, whether it is grass on every field related. They know the players are not going to hold firm and fast to that because if they don't play, they don't get paid. And the owners are desperate to keep that power structure in place.
And they know that a lot of guys that come into the league, they're so used to being broke. As soon as they get their hands on that money, they're going to buy everything that they thought they wanted. Mama going to get a big house, $1 million plus house. You're going to buy multiple cars. You're going to buy the expensive jewelry. You're going to buy the watches. You have insurance on those homes. You have bills. So if they know that earned income cannot last that long and you go and buy those things in the first 2-3 years, there's no way you have enough to be able to live off and meet your fixed costs. So that's the system there. Yeah. So we can create a system where you get a contract, 80% goes into the market for passive income. You can have 20%. You can knock yourself out. You can do whatever you want to. That'll be more productive for the players than just giving them all the money and now expecting them to be financial gurus.
Yeah.
So it's a system that keeps the guys in distress.
But that goes back to what I said earlier. When you're young and you've achieved this great goal and you think you're going to be able to reap the benefits of your hard work for years, dudes just ain't trying to hear all that. They're not trying to hear, oh, wait a minute. You want me to take 80% of all this money that I have worked so hard to make? You want me to take it and do what with it? For who? For myself and the greater good? Man, 21-year-old cat ain't trying to hear all that. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
Right. The first thing they're going to say is, I don't trust my money in the stock market. I'd rather have cash. You understand that?
I do.
The culture teaches you that.
Yes,
it does. Culture teaches you that you got to go buy your mom a big house. The culture teaches you that you got to take care of all your friends and family. The culture is wrong. The culture is stupid. The culture is just so ignorant to where it's going to keep guys in this situation. So we got a long way to go. And they know that every time players get drafted and they spend all the money, it's going to set us back another 100 years. And it's just too big of a hole to dig out of. Going into, that what I just spoke about right there, just the family and everything. This is why I watch the NFL draft differently nowadays, right? Now when I see the player there and maybe his girlfriend, his mother and his father, and he got 50 people standing behind him, I don't really see people that are happy for that individual and all the hard work and he achieved his dreams. I see a bunch of people that once his name gets called, they're thinking about, oh shit, we're rich. Not he's rich, but we're rich. That's when that initial entitlement kicks in. And then everybody is already thinking about what they're going to ask you for or what they think they deserve. And then it doesn't help when you go out there and you post it on the TV or on social media that Rob Brooks got 5 years, $40 million. Everybody's like, I need my piece because I was there for you. And in the rookie symposium, one of the main things that they tell you is when people ask you for money, say no. What's wrong with that?
Well, first off, it's easier said than done.
Yes.
It's hard to say no to mama. It's hard to say no to brothers, sisters, uncles. We can keep on going down the line. It puts the player in it's an extraordinarily difficult situation. And it's already hard enough as it is to put that stress on a young man who is dealing with a lot of stress and going to deal with more stress than they could ever imagine. It just puts them in a bad spot, in my estimation.
Yeah, it puts you in a bad spot. But when you tell somebody to tell their loved ones no, you also have to have information on how to deal with isolation,
Yeah.
how to deal with no longer being able to call these people, how to deal with no longer being able to just pop up at somebody's house and get love. When you get those major checks, you are now in a position where you have to purchase their love, their presence. Because how many people do you know that comes from African American communities that can handle the word no and still be your friend and still say, hey, can we go to dinner? Call and check on you and say, hey, how are you doing? The first thing they're going to say when you say no is, oh, fuck him. He's selfish. So now you're put in a place where your emotional intelligence has to increase drastically, where your intelligence and your EQ and IQ have to match, which is why a lot of the guys would rather just hand the money over and keep these people around them and keep them happy and buy their love than say no and be isolated.
Because
it's the first time in your life.
Yeah, because what you're buying is them not getting mad at you. You're not even necessarily buying love and affection. You're buying your peace of mind that they're not going to get angry at me and think I'm selfish or I'm better than them and I'm abandoning them. That right there, if I could be sort of nastily blunt, that's a mind fuck of infinite proportions.
Absolutely. You might have an older brother or older sister that might be in a gang, or they might be in the streets, and they say, hey, bro, I need 100,000. And you, the younger brother, what do you say? Oh, no, man, I ain't giving it to you, man. I'm going to beat your ass. You understand? You've always been afraid of.
You can't even go back home if you say that.
You can't say exactly. So I remember I was put in a position where my family would have weekly meetings on Sunday. They would all bring a bottle of liquor there. They would all bring a notebook and write down their wish list and everything that they expected Donte to do for them. And the way that I know this is because I had moles in there sending me back information. Oh, such and such said they want this house. Oh, such and such said they want this car. Oh, such and such said you are selfish because I told them no. My grandmother on her deathbed, there were family members and her sons and daughters coming and still asking her for $20, $30 when she had days to live. And she brought me in the day before she died. I was 20 years old and it was only me and her. And she said, do you see how selfish they are? They know that I'm going to die soon and they're still asking me for money. You know what she said? Don't give their ass shit. She said, you earned it all. You see how this boils down to it. Even when I'm on my deathbed, don't give them shit. If I didn't have that influence, I probably at 20 years old would have given all the money away because I was not in a position emotionally to tell everybody no and be isolated from the family, which definitely makes you the black sheep. You're already the black sheep because you became successful. Now you're the black sheep because everybody turns against you and it's you versus the family.
What did you call your grandmother? What was
Rose? Her name was Rosetta Whitner. We called her Rose, and she was like my shining star. She was my second mother, and a lot of times my first mother. She was the voice of reason in the family, and she was the strongest in the family. So when she brought me in and told me that, it broke my heart, but it opened my eyes at the same time.
I asked that question because I want to get this right. Shout out to Grandmama Rose. She kept it 100 with you.
Absolutely. And she
Yeah.
always kept it 100 with me. And she never asked me for
Mm,
anything.
mm.
She didn't want anything. All she wanted was for me to be successful. A lot of the Caucasian players that go to Boston College or, even Ohio State and Michigan, they come from households where their mom and dad has education first and foremost. They're together. They work jobs where they probably make over six figures each. They keep their spending low and they do not ask their children for anything. Anything that they get is extra, which makes it 100 times harder to be an African American athlete because you're coming from a neighborhood where everybody's dirt poor, crabs in a bucket. You're dealing with scarcity. And a lot of people don't understand this, that when you become that guy in the family, everybody, they don't even understand money. They just expect you to give it to them because they've never had it, which makes it the anger and resentment towards you even more intensified. So when I keep hearing and people ask me questions, so Whitner, how can this happen? You have no idea what the players deal with. And what I'm talking about right here is just a small sample size. We're not even talking about the nightclubs and how you get caught into that pleasure loop. There's a pleasure loop that comes with having money. And the number one thing you want to do is show people that you have money, right? So where can you showcase that best? At the nightclub with your shiny jewelry, pull up in your nice car. You got your nice babe next to you. You go in, you buy the bottles. And at the end of the night, after everybody praises you, after you get drunk, guess what you get at the end of the night? You get sex. You know how many different addictions we're just talking about here in this pleasure loop? And then guess what? That's another detriment to the players. The nightclubs, the strip clubs, wanting to go out and stun on people that's poor. You're not going to the south of France. You're not in London, England. You're not outside the country anywhere where people are affluent. You're in a neighborhood where it's very dangerous and everybody's looking at you because you're the target. And guess who pays for everything every time because they feel like obligated to? The player. So we have so many different things that we have to heal before we even get to the point to where we're talking about passive income.
And here's what's crazy. Not once in this scenario have we talked about actual football. The things you have to do to keep that job.
Yeah.
Like,
and all of you have to play at in the training.
Right. For you to continue to make this money that you are having to share with family and friends and various hangers on. The things you have to do to keep this money so you can continue to go back to where you came from and stunt on these hoes. Because I've said this a million times because it's true. Steve Young said it. It's easy to get. It's hard to get into the NFL, but it's easy to get out of the NFL. And the easy way to get out of the NFL, first and foremost, is to not be good at your job because you can be replaced. They have a draft every year where they find younger and cheaper versions of you to ostensibly replace you. All of the stuff you just talked about. And not once has football been a part of the discussion. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. And there's more to it. Let's talk about the agents and the financial advisors. You meet an agent, somebody, maybe a high school coach, maybe a college coach is probably getting money under the table. So they introduce you to an agent and they tell you, oh, he's the best agent in the world. He's going to have your back. He's going to take care of you. He's going to get you the best contract. That agent is connected to a financial advisor who's probably his friend, his best friend, his college coach, or his college teammate, a colleague, and they're in cahoots, right? And behind the scenes, do you know that they all think that you're going to lose all the money? So let's get as much percentage off this guy. And then when you retire, guess what? Chirps. You don't hear from the agent. You don't hear from the financial advisor. And they set you up this way. So even with the financial advisor, there's some things out there called an LMA law. When you come into the league, you're supposed to put all your money into the market, the stock market, and then you get passive income from that. And then the second form of passive income is through real estate. And when you get this LMA loan, you're basically leveraging your public portfolio, your stock portfolio, to go out and do multi-unit apartment complexes or commercial real estate or just residential real estate, right? That's an asset. Do you know, so that they lock you in, and God forbid, one day you get smart enough to understand that they're underperforming, they lock you in with that LMA loan and allow you to go out and buy liabilities with it. Jewelry, cars, your house that you live in, your mother's house, your mother's car. They allow you to do that, and it creates debt. So when you call one day and say, hey, I met this advisor, he's teaching me, I'm learning a lot, I want to move my money over. For example, if you have 10 million in that account and you have 8 million on that LMA loan, they're gonna margin call you and take that 8 million out of your 10, and you have $2 million left. That's to keep you locked in with them, knowing that they're underperforming. And a lot of the financial advisors do that. And then when you are in financial distress, when you retire and you don't have any money and you're looking for the people that always said they loved you and had your back, the financial advisor and the agent, and you call them, guess what? The voicemail that you're calling is not set up. They're not going to answer your calls. They're on to the next guys. So guys out there listening, make sure that you keep these people in check and that you make sure that they're performing and add value to you, or you fire their ass.
You said something at the top of this part of our discussion that just absolutely blew my mind. And I understand that it's because I'm naive about this and have no experience, because not a professional athlete, never been one. But the idea that your former coaches, high school or college, would steer you to an agent or a financial advisor because that agent or financial advisor will, under the table, pay them money for, in essence, setting you up with them. That never crossed. That's the that's some foul shit.
It happens a lot. And
that blows me away.
Yeah, so they get that 3% off you. That agent gonna get that 3%. And the advisor, he's supposed to get about 1%, 1 basis point, right? But sometimes they overcharge you 2 basis points, 3 basis points, as if you're private equity. You don't know any difference, so you're just paying them. But everybody's in cahoots. The high school coaches, the college coaches are getting money under the table to guide you to their friends, knowing that they're no good for you.
Wild.
Now, I'm not saying it's every agent and every advisor, but it's majority of them.
Well, yeah, but one is too many, let alone a majority.
But think about this, Rod. Think about how the Portuguese and the British were able to get the slaves off the Ivory Coast.
Well,
when you got off that boat and you wanted to go into Africa, you couldn't, because you would get stung by a mosquito and that malaria would take your ass out. So they had to offer the kings inside of Africa commodities, gold, all of these different things to capture their own and take them out to the boats for the Portuguese and the British. It's always been happening. So when you think about this, it's just a symbol. It happens all the time. People sell their own out for monetary gain every day. There's not many people that have integrity and be like, you know what? I don't care about the money under the table. I just want to find the best person for my athlete. I just want to find the best person that's going to do right by them. They get that $25,000 offer, that $50,000 offer. Guess what? Majority of the time, they're taking it.
Yeah.
So it's been going on for eons, but it's time to stop it. Another thing I want to talk about is 401k. You know, the NFL has one of the most phenomenal 401k plans in the history of any type of corporate business. They match us 3-1. So if you put $25,000 in, they match you with $75,000 every year. You play 10 years, that's $100,000 every year. That's compounding. When you retire, you'll have about $1.5, $2 million, and then you can touch it or roll it over when you're 45 years old. Do you know how many guys I've seen sit in that meeting where they say, check this box for your 401k. You must do this. Do you know how many guys I've seen say, I'm going to take this $25,000 going on a trip. I'm going to buy my girl a purse. I'm going to go buy me a new whip. I'm going to buy some new ice. Do you know how many guys I've seen do that? And then when you retire, you got a big goose egg in your 401k that was supposed to be your safety net, that was supposed to give you another chance when your EQ is high and your IQ is high. You're supposed to have another set of money at 45 years old that you can go out and do right with. Do you know how many guys have zero? A lot of them. And they didn't even understand what they were doing until it was too late. This is a tragedy. And this happens, I guarantee you it happens now. It happened when I played, and it's going to continue to happen. All because it's a difference between the things that make you a great athlete and the things that make you a great CEO of your own company now. It's a different skill set. So for all the guys out there, the current players, the former players, the guys that are going to come into the league, make sure that you check those boxes on that 401k, because this could actually save your life.
Yeah, that's the young and ignorant part. You don't think it matters. I'm 25. Why am I worried about 45? It's just you're never going to get a 20-year-old. Well, I shouldn't say never. It's hard to get a 20-year-old to understand that 20 years is not a long amount of time by any stretch of the imagination. It will be here quicker than you know it. But if you don't have those tools and you don't have that foresight, you're never going to understand the benefit of simply checking that box.
Absolutely. Yeah. This shit is serious, man.
Damn.
Exactly. I've seen it all.
Oh my God.
I've seen it all and experienced it all. That's why they're gonna get it. That's why they're gonna get it on the Grit Code podcast.
That's yo, man. That is some evil shit. That blows me away.
It's very evil. And I guess what? I had to find all this out on my own. And you know how I feel?
Yeah.
And then guess what? The advisor is the same, and he's underperforming. The motherfucker called me one time like, Whitner, you're up 7% on your portfolio. You're on your way to building generational wealth. I called my buddy that we're business partners now at the family office.
Yeah.
I said, my advisor just called me and said, I'm up 7% on my portfolio. What does that mean? He like, nothing. I'm like, what do you mean nothing? He like, what's the benchmark? I'm like, what's the benchmark? He like, well, the S&P 500 is the benchmark and it's up 19% right now. And this guy's telling you that he's up 7%. That's 12% deficit. And the S&P 500 is free. He's going to take 1% from you, which means you're going to net 6% versus 19. Are you doing well? Fired his ass the next day. So you see how they play emotional games because you don't understand the stuff?
Right.
And then I went on the track to learning all of this. I'm like, I'm not getting played with again. So, yeah, we'll start with college coaches and NFL coaches. That's the next topic. College coaches and NFL coaches. Well, mostly college coaches. Because you've seen so many guys go through high school without the fundamental education that it takes to go to college and be successful. And then you see guys that get to college and they get pushed through. They get people that do their work for them, take tests with them, hold their hand. And then when you get to the NFL, when you're out of the NFL, they have something called a disability plan, Rod. The disability plan, you take all of your injuries, your head traumas, and you go through systems and tests so that they have to pay you pretty much monthly forever. But you come to a point to where it takes 2-3 years, and then you get to the last test. The last test starts with a system of words, 75 words that you must enunciate, pronunciate, and not stutter over to show them that your IQ was high before you had head trauma.
I heard about this. Yeah.
And if you can't enunciate, pronounce these words, you don't get the money. So you see how the high school coaches and the college coaches and pushing guys through and not actively making them earn their education hurts you even more when you retire? It's another tragedy. It's another form of systematic racism that we have to fix. And it's not really their fault, because when you get to that test, they say, hey, you went to Ohio State and got a degree. You're supposed to be able to say these words. You're supposed to know these words and know the definition of these words. How rough do you think that is on a player?
I'm sure anything, it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. And guess what? You're supposed to have another chance at having success and some passive income coming in, and you can't get it because you don't have the educational qualities. And it's not their fault, because all you really had and your only skill set was able to run fast, jump high, throw the football, catch the football, and score touchdowns. So if they didn't make you earn it, it's not necessarily all their fault, but a huge percent of it is their fault. And they should be ashamed of themselves.
But let me ask you this. When you were at Ohio State and you knew you were going to the league, it was just a matter of where you were going to get drafted and what team was going to do the drafting of you, Donte Whitner. How long did you think you were going to play football? Did the end of your career ever enter your mind as you were beginning your career?
The end of my career never entered my mind. In my mind, I knew and I expected to play 15 years in the NFL. That was just like my mindset.
And people don't realize how rare that is to play as long as you did. 15
Absolutely.
years is crazy. For as long as you did, it's just crazy.
Average career is 3 to 4 years.
Right.
So in my mind, I wanted to play 15. I ended up playing 11, which is an anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I was able to do so well is because of my mom and grandma and the educational values that they expected from me. I remember times as a kid playing football, everybody praising me as a really good athlete, and he's the next guy to leave high school and go on to college. And they would not let me get by when it came to education. If they came home from work and they saw that my homework wasn't done, they will wake me up out of the bed, make me take off all my clothes and sit in my underwear, turn the air conditioner on 65 degrees to where it's freezing, and you're going to sit at this dinner table and you're going to write perfectly. You're going to get every answer right. We're not going to help you. And you're going to finish this homework until you learn how important education is. So when I got to high school, nobody had to tell me. You got guys with the eligibility cards and they come with the D's and F's on there. I always had straight A's on mine. My homework was always in on time. It was always legible. I was always able to speak well because they put that in me. When I got to Ohio State, it was a culture shock coming from an African-American high school, going to Ohio State where you have Asians and Caucasians and Spanish. But guess what? When that came to that education, I knew how important that was. If I needed help, I needed extra tutoring, I knew how important that was, and I reached out, which is why I had a 3.7 grade point average at Ohio State with no help. Nobody ever did a test for me. So when it came to the NFL and you walk into the NFL locker room and you're doing interviews, do you know how many guys I heard tell me, when are you trying to be white? Why are you talking like that?
Yeah.
What you trying to be white? I'm like, well, speaking well is a cool thing. I don't want to speak in Ebonics. I don't want to sound like a fool. So do you know how many times I was criticized by teammates in the locker room for being able to handle interviews well and speak well? So you got so many guys that they're probably a little embarrassed that they can't speak, so they want you to be similar to them. And I never caved in to the peer pressure of that. So I want to give a shout out to my mom and grandmom for instilling that in me as well. See, I was so afraid of being woken up in the middle of the night, 2:00 in the morning. You got to be at school at 7:30, and we don't care.
And my guess is that wake up was never gentle. You never got a nice,
you
never got a shake on the shoulder.
Them lights flash on. It's real bright in there. Oh shit! You get that enough, you're gonna learn your lesson.
I'm sorry for laughing, but I know exactly how it goes.
Man, I'm telling you, it be so cold in that kitchen, man. I'm like, man, I'm freezing. I'm crying. I can't do it. Yeah, like, you better figure it out.
But I asked that question though because again, guys don't think that their career is going to be average or below average in terms of how long you play. Guys think they're going to play for 10, 12, 15 years and get that second, third, maybe even fourth contract. And man, third and fourth contracts, that happens for perennial all pros and dudes who got one arm in that gold jacket that represents you have made the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And so I just think that the youth and the ignorance, unfortunately, we're talking about this. It manifests itself and it gets preyed upon by those who should know better, and that's the true tragedy of all this.
But if your growth rate doesn't change, it doesn't matter how many
You're right.
contracts you get. If your
You're right.
financial literacy doesn't grow, it doesn't matter how many contracts you get. It's still earned income.
Yeah.
And the key to it all, and the owners invest the same way, which it just blows my mind as to why none of them come down, sit in front of their team and say, this is how I invest my money.
Well,
these are the companies I invest in. We want to meet our fixed costs, which is our yearly bills, with passive income that makes you wealthy. Nobody's reinventing the wheel. So all the time that I played for the 49ers, the Buffalo Bills, the Cleveland Browns, there was never a time when an owner came into a team meeting and told us or taught us how he invests his money, which is another form of criminality because they all invest the same. Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, all of the top advisors invest in the same companies, Rod, to produce passive income. And we've never had this conversation. So it just blows my mind. Getting into some football stuff, because we talked a lot about, everything. Dominic Pooney. There were some reports out there that they're starting contract negotiations with Dominic Pooney. Do you think that they should give him the new contract, or do you think they should wait and see more from him?
No, I'm perfectly fine with that. When Dominic Pooney is healthy, Dominic Pooney makes that offensive line better, makes Brock Purdy's job easier, and helps them win football games. We know how the Niners do not draft in the offensive line in terms of using high draft picks. They hit on Pooney. When you hit on the guy, in my estimation, you keep him. Now, how much it's going to cost him or whatever, I don't know. But when you got a guy and you like him and he makes you better at that position where the Niners, again, don't spend a lot of draft capital, yeah, pay him the money. I got no issue with it.
I think you wait a year. I think you allow him to go out and understand that this is his contract year and you get the best out of him. Majority of players that I've been around that had to wait for that contract, it does something psychologically to you to where you lock in, you focus in, and you have your best year. If you think about that year where Jim Harbaugh came in, Deshaun Goldson was a free agent, Carlos Rogers was a free agent, everybody that was free agent pretty much on 1-year deals, that they locked in and they played their best football.
That's human nature.
If you pay him now, he might get a little comfortable and you might not get that all-pro Dominic Pooney. So I think you wait a year, you make him prove it, and you go out and make a Pro Bowl. You deserve to get everything that they're going to offer you.
Yeah, I'm gonna push back on that because here's why I say it. I get it, but to me that seems like game plan. Dominic Pooney last year, okay, played hurt. And his play, because he was hurt, his play wasn't up to the standard we saw his rookie year when he was healthy. When Dominic Pooney, playing hurt last year, got healthier, his play improved. So to me, what he did last year, in my estimation, it earns respect from me, and I think it earns respect inside that Niner organization. And if you respect him that much for what he did, presumably, then you pay him. He played hurt. He gave you what he could give you while physically compromised. And then he got better, healthy, playing through all of that, and his play improved. And to me, that says a lot about the cat in terms of him as a football player and in terms of him as a human being. Because he could have played hurt and just shut it down.
Yeah, he could have. But what do you pay him? Low tier, average tier, mid tier, or do you pay him as if he's a Pro Bowler? Because there's different levels of pay.
Well, I mean, they're not going to break the bank on him. Again, I don't know. The question was, should they?
So then, if I'm his agent,
so if the question is, should they pay him?
Ourselves.
Okay, that's between him and his agent. But the question was, should they pay him? I feel like I just laid out the reason why they should pay him. How much they should pay him, I don't know. And if his agent wants him to bet on him, he should bet on himself. That's between him and his agent. How about we just split the difference? He plays half the season. He plays well because he's healthy, and the Niners offer him a contract, and then they sign the contract. How about we do it?
Bring in the Brinks truck. That's what you do. But a lot of times they try to get ahead of it. If they see your trajectory going up, they want to get ahead so they can pay that $12 million a year instead of $25 million a year.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that we kind of almost we're not saying the same thing. I think don't pay him $40, and for him and his agent, bet on yourselves. Okay. So we'll understand that. And with our last question, do you think the 49ers truly have a Super Bowl roster? Or fans ignoring the major holes that they have at backup linebacker, safety, and left guard?
Is backup linebacker really a huge hole?
Yeah, especially when you have Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner coming off of injuries. Backups are important.
No, I understand that. Those are I'll look at it this way. While those might be 3 holes, everywhere else looks to be pretty damn good. So it's a Super Bowl roster. Sure. Yeah. And how many teams have legitimate Super Bowl rosters in a 32-team league? 8 to 10. Let's say 10. I think the Niners have a roster that fits into that top 10. Where? That's debatable. But I think roster-wise, they have one of the 10 best rosters in the league. Sure.
I think they have one of the top 5 best rosters in the league.
Okay.
Mainly because of Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, the skill positions, right.
Everything you hear about him. When you look at Diamador Lenore, I think Renardo Green will take a step. I'm expecting Bosa to get healthy. I'm expecting that defensive line to be ferocious this year. Yep. You keep Dre Greenlaw, the dynamite on that side of the ball, and Fred Warner's healthy. I think they need better safety play. But when you look around the roster, Trent Williams at left tackle, Dominic Pooney at guard, I think they have one of the top 5 best rosters in the NFL. And not just teams in the NFC West need to be on alert. I'm thinking overall teams need to be on alert. And then you add in a sprinkle in a little bit of Kyle Shanahan. I think they have a top 5 in Super Bowl roster this year.
And here's the thing. The league knows it. Everybody in the league know it.
They know it, and they understand what the 49ers have represented over the last decade since Kyle Shanahan has been the head coach. And I think this year they're going to get a full dosage of him. And we didn't even mention the young rookies that they have in, or the Ricky Pearsalls, who I'm expecting to have a phenomenal year. But I feel like that was one of our best episodes. I feel like that was one of the realest episodes. That'll do it for episode 44 of the Grit Code podcast. Make sure to follow and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, X, and TikTok. And remember, from myself and Mr. Rod Brooks, it's not just a code, but it's a way of life.
Shout out Grandmama Rose.
Mama Rose, can I call you Rose? Can I call you Rose?
She kept it real.
She